Right, here we are. My pride and joy, what was once my pride and joy, doesn't look that great. So yeah, some of you might know already, but about 2 months ago, cycling to work, I got hit by a car on a roundabout, and this is the result basically. So yeah, I've been reluctant to say too much about this or make any videos or anything, just because I've been waiting for an insurance payout to replace my bike. But now I've had that, I thought I'd do a little video on basically what happened and the extent of the damage. So yeah, fortunately someone captured the incident on dash cam, so I'll just insert that video now. Okay, so I wasn't going to insert this clip, but I did think if anyone watching this changes the way they approach a roundabout, then that can't be such a bad thing. I see so many people flying up to roundabouts and slamming their brakes on at the last minute and being surprised that anything's coming from the right. So here you'll see me come onto the roundabout from the right, just on my way to work. Car pulls out, and boom, I'm on the floor and my bike is underneath the car. As easy as that. So we'll just rewind this now and just play it back in slow-mo. So here, my hands are out, telling these cars to slow down and trying to make myself more visible. And it was at this point I looked back, saw that they were looking at the junction rather than me, and that's where I knew it was game over. And luckily, the car avoided me and I got out of the way. Yeah, so obviously just looking at it externally before we start stripping it down, you can obviously see the front wheel is completely snapped. I think that was one of the first things that I heard sort of as I hit the floor, was the tyre exploding. It is a tubeless tyre, so I think as soon as that wheel was ridden over, the tyre just blew up and I just heard a massive bang and a crumple, and sort of tried to get out of the way of the car as quick as I could. So tyres obviously blown off, rim snapped into pieces, the disc is obviously quite bent, and actually the forks have span round 180 degrees. This is how the bike was when I picked it up. Obviously as it got sucked under the car, it span the forks round in the stem. Forks are facing the opposite way. Yep, so that's the wheel, disc obviously broken, lever completely snapped off. Luckily my phone was on this quad lock mount and it was just sat here. I remember getting up thinking, what the hell has just happened, and seeing my phone just perfectly, probably about an inch from the floor, perfectly fine. And then obviously I was able to get up and take the pictures that I'll insert now of the bike underneath the car. I don't know if you can see too much from this angle, but maybe if I switch it, you can see whichever angle, the frame is so bent. Yeah, it annoyed me a little bit. The lady that hit me did phone me up and say, oh, it looks like it's just going to be a replacement wheel, to which I laughed and said, no, it's definitely not. It's a new bike. The whole bike, everywhere you look, the bike is bent. See the carbon crank arm? I'll just prop the bike up now. So yeah, the carbon crank arm, which I've mentioned in a recent video, I was gifted these by my friend Joe. Sorry mate, but yeah, they've not lasted too long. XT pedal has obviously taken some road rash here, and the carbon crank, which, you know, carbon is very strong in certain ways, but an impact like this, I'm not surprised that the crank arm's just snapped off. See the rear derailleur has completely come away. Not surprised really. Just to note as well, this frame is steel, so it's probably one of the strongest materials of frame that you can get. So yeah, that's the bike externally. If you can see on the rear wheel and the tyre has taken some impact. Tried to make the bike as bright and as colourful, as stand out as I can, and obviously still not seen. But yeah, I do genuinely think that the lady didn't see me. I do remember sort of going around the roundabout. It's quite a common roundabout for people pulling out. I think they just fly up to the roundabout at 30 miles an hour and for some strange reason assume that nothing is ever going to be on the roundabout until the last minute and they slam their brakes on. So I remember going around the roundabout and thinking that the cars are coming up to the roundabout quite quick, and if you can see from the dash cam footage, if I zoom in potentially, you can see my hand sort of just indicating to just slow down, like I'm here, sort of waving my hands. But when I looked at the lady, I could see that she was looking back at the junction and she hadn't seen me, and I think at that point I knew that it was game over, and then just felt the bike sort of accelerate, I guess, and then I went one way, the bike went the other way. So I'm very lucky that the bike went under the car and not me. I think at the time I was just a bit like, my bike was so upset about my bike being crushed underneath the car and full of adrenaline that I didn't actually really take any time to think about what condition I was in. So yeah, I got out of it quite well, just a couple of scraped elbows, and then I did have a dead ass for about a month, and it's still sort of there from sat in the car for a long time. Does get a bit painful, but could have been a lot worse. Could have been under the car, could have gone through the windscreen or whatever. So I'm grateful that she did notice me at the last minute and swerve and do all that she could to get out of the way of hitting me. I'm also grateful that I've spent probably 15 years of my life riding mountain bikes, BMXs, road bikes. So I think there is an element of that where you do learn to crash, which sounds really crazy to some people that don't ride, but I think anyone that does ride, you do definitely learn how to fall and maybe just don't put your hands out and tuck and roll or go one way. So I'm not sure if that's had anything to do with it, but I definitely think there is a part of it anyway that maybe down to me having ridden for so long and sort of grown up riding, that I was able to get out of the way and act quickly. I think if it was someone older that was just cycling on the road, commuting, or just, you know, someone that just hasn't got that much experience on the road, maybe would have slammed on the brakes and maybe been in a bit more of a death zone. So I think I'm just gonna put the bike in the stand now, and then just maybe grab the camera off the tripod and slowly start taking bits off of it, because I am going to get off all the crazy bits. And I think because I've spent so much time, I've got so much fond memories with the bike, so I'm just gonna strip it down so it's just a little bit smaller, probably just down to the frame, leave the cranks in and stuff like that, and it's just going to hang up on my wall as a piece of art and a bit of a memory, because I've done thousands of miles on this bike. I rode it to Paris, rode it to Cheddar Gorge and back from Gloucester. So yeah, had a lot of fond memories riding it on-road, off-road. It's had quite a lot of different versions, this bike, so it's not really the ending that I wanted, but bikes are replaceable. So let's get it in the stand and just see the extent of the damage, really. Okay, so we'll see. First thing, as I mentioned, carbon crank arm completely broken. I haven't actually spun this chainring to see if the chainring's bent. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but that's chainring bent. So crank arm snapped, chainring bent. Right, so second bit was the derailleur. It's obviously snapped straight off the body. Rear dropouts obviously been dragged along the floor. It's actually ripped the frame backwards. This has obviously just been dragged along the floor. Loads of damage there. Let's just see. That hanger should be straight in line, and actually I don't think that cassette would go. That's fully wedged and jammed just purely by the hanger into the cassette. So the tyre, brand new pink tyres, which I know you hate, Ollie, if you're watching. Wheel's been dragged along the floor. I'd like to know actually how true this rear wheel is, because although we can see that chainstay there, how bent that is, that should be pretty much parallel with this one. And then if you look over, the tyre is right against the frame, so I don't know what angle would be best. Yeah, basically this disc is so bent that I don't even think that would spin. Definitely not. Look at it, it's dished. I wonder how easy it is to get this wheel out of the frame. Luckily I've still got the Allen key on this side to pull the wheel out. And then there we are, that's the frame. You can see the paint cracked and the frame bent completely. You can even see this angle here. It's hard to tell, but well, I guess if you look at the angle of the bottom bracket and then the angle of the frame, well, yeah, basically it's very, very bent. And then let's move down to the forks. Got some, what I can only imagine is tyre marks from the tyre or road rash. Okay, so that's another factor. So obviously there's the wheel. Just aluminium rims on here, so they're not carbon, but they've cracked here at the join, then folded there. Moving up, bars have obviously gone along the floor, broken. This is the first time I've actually looked at this bike, so it has just been hanging in the workshop where I work, which is Slam 69 in Gloucester bike shop. I am a mechanic there. That's obviously knackered. Not too much damage on this lever. So these Hope bar ends, they can be reused. They may go on my new bike, as well as the Hope top cap, which is the older Hope top cap. They have changed since then, which I think I prefer this shape. Okay, so I don't know if you can see from this angle the straightness or not straightness. And there we are. So I might reuse these tyres on my new bike. I think they're all right. Obviously rubber's pliable, so they should be fine, minus the scrapage on the rear tyre, which might come off with a little bit of soap or something. That's the bike in full. I'm just going to see now if I can get the rear wheel out and show you the bits individually. Okay, so first of all, I think probably the easiest thing to do is just get this chain off and out of the way. If I can find the split link. Oh, the split link would be wedged in there, wouldn't it? So I do work on crash damage stuff sometimes and quote bikes for insurance and stuff like that, and I have seen some bikes in the past, but maybe nothing as bad as this. There we go. So that's freed up the quick link now, bending that a little bit. There we are. So all of that can just go straight in the bin. Cable's not even connected anymore. So just pull that out. That can just stay there for now. Okay, so probably what I'm interested about, I imagine it will, because it's probably stuck at a point. I'm just quite interested to see if this wheel just drops straight out. I potentially might be able to salvage these hubs if the axle's still straight and it spins all right. I think the hub's probably okay, which is the center part is just fixed there with the through axle, so it might just be that the frame has taken all the force. But I'm just going to drop the rear wheel out now. So there we are. It's the wheel true. Also, I built these wheels. You can see the wheel's true. Look at the disc. That's the buzz of the Halo Superdrive hub, which everyone hates. Oh, I have. Don't need to over tighten your pedals, if anyone doesn't know that. So there we are. I have done a video on how to fit your pedals before, so if you want to know how to do that, then look in the previous videos. So yeah, I'm going to leave the cranks in. No point in taking them out. They're not much use. I mean, the left-hand crank is okay, but I wouldn't want to risk it anyway, so they'll just stay in there as they are. Tells part of the story, doesn't it? Right, so front wheel out. It's hard to know how easy these wheels are going to drop out with the discs being so bent. There we are. And there we have it. Maybe that might be a thumbnail. Who knows? Okay, so that can just go in a pile. Same again, the hub might be usable, so I'll just cut the spokes out, the front wheel and the rear wheel, and either sell the hubs or just keep them as spares. Always good to have some spare parts. Brake calipers. Well, that is a weird one. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on here, but I don't think I've ever seen that before. The brake caliper is bent. It's bent the mount. So see if you can see the fork is straight and the caliper is at an angle. We will just pull off the camera quickly. That's the caliper. And it looks like it's twisted the brake mount. So I did think maybe I'd maybe put these brakes up for sale or something, but I just genuinely don't think there's any point. I won't want to sell anything dangerous. And obviously brakes are what allow you to stop. So does it look any straighter yet? Nope. So luckily my new bike is 27.2mm seat post as well. So this dropper post that I bought, just an external dropper lever I can use on the new bike, which comes with a carbon post, so I can just swap the bits in here and there. Saddle's got a bit of road rash as well. What else? So I'll just pull that out. So I think I'll just quickly take off the brakes and the handlebars, and then we'll just have it on the wall of just the stem, and then it can just hang up like that without the saddle in it, I guess. Maybe I'll put the old seat post in it. Okay, quad lock mount I can reuse. That can go on the new bike. Just a 3mm. Yep. Okay, so just get some cable snips just for all these cable ties. Flat mount caliper, got the brake mounts underneath. Just let that hang. Flat mount bolts. Then off the front, bolts feel quite tight in one direction, so I wonder if they're... That's the brake mount off, and then I think what I'll do, yeah, is just leave the stem on. So I'll just pull off these bars. Again, can't really tell if these bars are straight or not. It's quite hard to tell unless you were to put a jig on it or something like that, especially with these drop bars. If it was a straight bar, you'd probably be able to tell. This is crazy. The fork's here and the bottom bracket's over here. Might be easier to see now it's stripped down. Okay, so that's the bars and the brakes off. We'll just chuck that over here for now. Stick the faceplate back on. And maybe I'll just leave this stem at 90 degrees, because I think if it's going on the wall, it's probably going to be better like that. But God, it is so bent. Okay, so that's the frame now stripped down completely. All the bits that are on it I am going to leave on it. You just see this part bent. This frame, this part should be in line with this part. This derailleur should be straight. And then if you look over, I don't know if you can see, bottom bracket is just facing in a completely different way. But yeah, cut a long story short, clear to see that the frame is bent. Another angle, look at that. Look how bent that is. Oh my God. Frame, head tube at an angle, forks at an angle. And obviously that's where it's bent. So yeah, ready to go on the wall. There's a piece of art. Sad day really. It's not really how I wanted this bike to end up. That's the wheel looking sorry for itself. So yeah, I think that's it. Right, so there we have it. Surly Midnight Special RIP. So yeah, as mentioned before, not ideal. Getting run over isn't ideal. The purpose of this video really is just to sort of show anyone that was interested what happened to the bike and a little story behind it. Also, obviously this bike's not going to be on the channel anymore, so if you watched the channel from the beginning, you'd have seen this bike a couple of times. So just a little bit of a send-off really. I haven't got any intention on making the person who hit me feel any more guilty than they did already. Obviously quite a traumatic experience for the person driving. I can only imagine how it would be if you looked somewhere and thought it was clear and then looked ahead of you and there's a cyclist going underneath your car. So yeah, no intention on that side. I'm just happy that obviously they put their hands up and admitted fault, and finally after 2 months of chasing, I've finally had a payout and I've been able to purchase a new bike, which I will do a new video on. And yeah, maybe just a little unboxing and talking about the new bike and why I've ended up with what I've ended up with. And yeah, that's it. Sad day for the Surly, but it will stay in my life, be up on the wall, and it'll be a memory forever. So yeah, if you've had a similar experience, then maybe just drop a comment, and if you've liked the video, then please just give me a subscribe and a thumbs up and all of that stuff. It'd be cool to see the channel grow a little bit more than it has done already. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one where I build up my new bike.